How's it going? What's going on, guys? My name is Lewis, and in case you're new here, maybe you're coming from the Coin Bureau channel, or maybe you're coming from somewhere else. My name is Lewis, and this is going to be a market update video. I'm going to be putting this one on YouTube. Normally, I keep this gate locked, private, behind the actual, Diamond membership. But I have a lot of time that is available to me right now for today. So in this market update, I want to be going over pretty much what I do, my thought process, the things that I look at to determine what investment strategy I'm going to be, undertaking, what trades I'm going to be going into or out of, and pretty much giving you a little glimpse into my overall strategy. Now, in case you're new here, like I said, my name's Lewis. I run Cryptolete and I run a mastermind. And I invested into Bitcoin and Ethereum back in 2017. I got into Dogecoin in 2020 before it did a 70x. In 2021, I publicly called the top of the market, sold out, and bought apartments in downtown and Miami. Then in 2023, 2024, 2025, I was able to catch a lot of 10 to 50x plays. And even in 2025, I made 100x on KTA Kita, which was publicly called and also, obviously called in my Diamond membership, in my mastermind. And that was really, really, really good. While most people were, not doing too well, we actually ended up doing really well. So that's a little bit about my backstory. And obviously, I'm just letting you know I've been in the game for quite a while. And so this is going to be my market update. I try to do this every single week. And it's never going to be as intense and as in depth as this one is, but I do try to look at the markets and get a good understanding of what to do, and then just basically hand that off to people in the mastermind. So if you're interested in that, there will be links in the description below. And with saying that, let's get started. Okay, so for the market updates, these are the more comprehensive updates of the market. What I do is I go back to what I wrote the previous week. I see what I wrote. It reminds me, it reminds other people. And then I look at what the market is doing right now and I determine, okay, should I continue on course with what the strategy, what the thought process was last week, or should we change course? So looking at the overview of the market, that's what I like to do first, is just think about what the big overview of the market should be like. Instead of getting caught in the weeds, I don't want to miss the forest for the trees, right? I want to think about the big picture, because why would you look for longs when the entire market is bearish and everything has a high probability of going down and it's very risk off, right? And why would you look for shorts if the market is very risk on and everything looks good and you should be going in? Why should you be trading when you can just be buying and holding? There's certain periods for that. Why should you be going into stocks versus crypto, or AI stocks versus crypto, or commodities or metals or whatever? Just like a big picture overview of what's happening in the world and what's happening in the market is always a good idea to have, because it helps you to dictate what you should be investing in, or whether you should just be sitting on your hands, which is what most people should do the vast majority of times, to be honest. So I'm just going to go over what I wrote. This was on the 9th, so this was 2 weeks ago, and pretty much I wrote crypto might have put in a local bottom, but I'm still going to be waiting many months until I go in extremely heavy into crypto. I'll be taking profits on any trades fairly quickly, because I'm expecting more downside to come eventually, even with rallies. So if we look at Bitcoin, that was literally right here when I said that, and we came up and now we're making our way back down. So yeah, I am essentially what I'm looking at right here. And let me go on to a different, let me go down here real quick. I'll use this chart instead so that I could actually mark it up a little bit. What I'm looking at right now that I'm worried about is two things. The first off is this right here literally, I guess it'll be easier if I do this. Like, is this range bound breakout, okay, going to be the same exact thing as this range bound breakout, and then, obviously huge move down, which is also, or was also, the same exact thing if you look back when the previous bear market was right there in March 2022, the same exact time. Although this one did extend into April, this was range bound for quite a while, and then, it broke out only to just totally fall back down. Right? So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about this basically being a quote unquote fake, I don't know why I say quote unquote, this being a fake breakout. It does, because it is a breakout, give an opportunity to long the market as long as you have a stop loss in place, because it's almost like the riskiest time to blindly long with no stop loss, because this would be the time after a breakout for the market to trick everyone, collect all the liquidity up here and then or higher, and then move down the same exact way how it did it right there. It collected all of the liquidity that everyone had, thinking, okay, maybe the bull market's back on, and then it dumped. And the same thing happened back in the other instance in March and April of 2022, which I, just mentioned. Okay, so going back to this, I'm not going to change this because crypto, I still want to wait many months before I go extremely heavy into crypto, and I still want to be taking profits on any trades fairly quickly because, like I said, I'm expecting more downside to come eventually, even with rallies. And the reason I'm expecting that is because of what I talked about on the Coin Bureau trading channel's live stream that I did, which is the Bitcoin 4-year cycle chart. So just as a little recap, the 4-year cycle played out perfectly. I mean, this was the 4-year cycle high right on time, right? And so if this was the 4-year cycle high, which was the same as all of the other cycles, and nothing changed, well, then the 4-year cycle low is probably going to be the same as the other cycles as well. And so if that's the case, well, every other cycle, it took about 1 year, 364 days from the top to reach the bottom. So 364 days is going to be right over here. So this is where I'm expecting it, is somewhere around September, maybe October of 2026. And that's where I want to go in. That's, like, just logically speaking, the same thing has happened multiple times before. It happened, the top was the same, so why not the bottom be the same as well? That's like the overall base. That's the overall theme and the overall idea of what I have. Now, of course, that could change, but as of right now, that's definitely what I'm thinking, right? Now, going back to the overview, I did say a couple of weeks ago, one thing though is equities. So Coinbase stock bounced exactly from my buy zone, and it went up 50%, over 50% now. And this makes me want to trade coin or equities more than Bitcoin or crypto. And the thing was that I was waiting on coin, for a long time. It reached the area, but because I figured if crypto is in a bear market, then it wouldn't have such a big rally off of its support. However, it went up over 50%. So obviously that's drastically more than Bitcoin did, right? So I want to take more chances in crypto adjacent equities when they do reach their big supports. So if we go to coin right here, this is something that this is what I was talking about. I had this level plotted out for weeks and weeks and months, really months and months and months and months. It's in my other videos, and it's in the reports and stuff like that. And when it hit here, the alert went off inside of the mastermind, and it said, hey, going into coin now. However, I was thinking about it, and I literally said, like, hey guys, so I don't think that I don't want to risk too much on coin. I might just sit this one out because of the fact that Bitcoin and crypto is in a bear market. So, I bet the crypto adjacent stocks are probably not going to do very well. However, as you could see, it's went up drastically. And the thing is, from bottom to top, this went up 53%. Okay, I just want to share something. 53% from bottom to top. Bitcoin only went up 26%. So coin went up twice as much as Bitcoin did. I know that fart coin went up like really, everybody was talking about fart coin this week, right? So from bottom to top, fart coin went up 67%. Okay, 67% for fart coin. And so essentially the same amount. And SPX went up 62% from the bottom to the top. So the same percentage from bottom to top is what SPX 6900 and Fartcoin, the meme coins, are doing or did over the last few weeks in crypto. However, think about the risk profile. Think about the risk that you're putting on getting into Fartcoin or getting to SPX 6900, getting into these meme coins in crypto compared to getting into Coinbase Global, right? Coinbase Global at 152. That the risk is drastically less going into coin compared to the meme coins in crypto because of where we are in the cycle, right? And just I guess I'll share another thing about risk is that a lot of people say, oh, meme coins are risky or these low market cap coins are risky. But they aren't accounting for adjusted risk based off of where we are in the market cycle, different data points, and a whole lot of other factors. It's not always just low market cap coins are the riskiest. Bitcoin is the least risky, and then comes Ethereum, and then comes like Dogecoin and XRP, and then the high market cap, and then all of a sudden the meme coins, and then the other stuff, and the low market cap stuff is the most risky. That's not in reality the way that it works. That's very simple-minded. The way that you should think about risk when it comes to trading is what that particular asset is doing at that particular time, and the narrative behind it, the investments into it, the trending, how it's trending, basically the narrative, so the use cases and the way that people are thinking about it, right? So because there was a point at time where Dogecoin was less risky than Bitcoin was. Right? There was a time when a lot of these meme coins were less risky than the AI coins and the AI plays. So it's not just about what the coin is. It's about what is actually happening in the market and market structure and narrative and a whole bunch of other things, right? So that's a big concept that I really don't see anyone talking about. And most people talk about it in the other way, the way that I explained it originally. Where they say Bitcoin is the least risky, and then low cap. That's such a juvenile, that's such an elementary way of thinking about risk and thinking about what to trade, right? Like anything can be risky, and anything can hold minimal risk based off of the situation, right? It's like jumping out of an airplane has a 100% risk profile. But if you are wearing a parachute, well, you know what? Now that risk goes down drastically. And if you have a tandem skydiver on your back, then that risk goes down even more. It's still jumping out of an airplane, right? It's still the same asset, but it's completely different situations, right? That's the way to think about trading and what to get into and stuff like that. It's not always, and the reason why this is important is because it strangleholds or pigeonholes people into thinking like they can only invest or they can only trade certain assets, when the real alpha comes from those assets where everyone else thinks is risky, right? The ones that I made the most money on have been the meme coins. 100% have been the meme coins. And then the other one was Kita, which I explained in the first, part of the video, KTA. But and that one was legit, right? And then there was the AI coins and the metaverse coins and all these other things, right? But really it's just look at the data, look at all the data and come to a conclusion based off of that, not based off of like, oh, well, this is the way that it is. Like no, like everything's always changing, right? I mean, coin right here is more risk, or coin right here is way more risky than like meme coins or anything really, like any other asset essentially, because it's at a huge resistance, right? So that's just another tidbit that I wanted to talk about. All right, so now getting back to the main point of this is that I definitely want to get into Coinbase. I definitely want to get into coin. Right now, it's obviously it went up 50%, so I don't want to get into it now. But if it does drop back down, I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be stacking up because right here, and honestly, I should have just disregarded the fact that we're in a bear. I don't know if I should have disregarded the fact, but I should have just put on a trade with much less risk as opposed to just sitting it out. Because if you look on the monthly chart for Coinbase, you could see that we had this bullish hammer long wick candle at the supports. It tapped into the major supports and it created a bullish sweep of the previous monthly sweep. And so this is super bullish. This is a super bullish candle. So if on the monthly time frame, let's say we close somewhere over here on the monthly, maybe next month it'll come down a little bit. Maybe I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if it'll come down below this monthly low. So I sort of want to just put the trade on the monthly low. So let me just do this really quickly and plot this out so I don't forget it. This is the monthly low, right? Because that's at 172, and I think my entry was at 170. So I want to make sure. But yeah, the monthly is super bullish. The weekly, once again, super long wick hammer bullish candle at the bottom of a downtrend at the support. Near the support. That's a textbook long. So yeah, I want to go in if it comes down to, let's say 172. So I'm just gonna change this. I'm just gonna change this and put in this right here so that the diamond members will get the alerts when this goes off. So I'm going to add an alert on this monthly low, and I'm going to put the monthly. I'm going to put the message: coin is reaching the monthly low. I'll be buying now, and I'll put the picture in so people will see. Hey, look, like it's down here. And yeah, that's Coinbase. So that's what I was talking about. Oh, and the other thing about Coinbase is that look at this. Look at how crazy this is. Coinbase outperformed Bitcoin by quite a lot. If you got a Bitcoin at the very, very bottom at 15,000 and you sold at the very, very top at 126,000, it wasn't a 1,300% increase, right? So let's go to Bitcoin, right? That was coin was 1,300%. Bitcoin was bottom to top, very, very bottom to very, very top, was 700%. So nearly a 2x. You got, like, actually what you could do is you could do coin USDT / BTC USDT, and it's like, maybe you can't do that. Coin / BTC. Maybe this will work. Coin / BTC April 21. 22, 23, 24, 25. I mean, it did very, very, very well from the bottom to top. So it outperformed, if this is the correct chart, it outperformed it, by more than double. So pretty crazy stuff, right? Pretty crazy stuff. So that's why I'm not that's why I switched to only doing crypto to doing crypto and equities, and also, of course, commodities. You probably seen my videos getting into uranium and getting into energies. Like this energy stock, this one is obviously doing exceptionally well. I got into lithium. This one, it's back near the entry. Uranium, I don't think is doing well. No, it's in the box. Okay, and it hasn't. This one hasn't even actually reached the box yet. But oh, this. Okay, so this I want to sell. This I think I'm going to sell because it is back underneath this gigantic trend line, and I believe that if it wanted to push up, like it needed to put like if this needed to push up, so I'm gonna be selling this what I have. So let me throw this into the Diamond membership right now, and I will be right back. Okay, so I went through the all of the different commodities and metals that I previously purchased, and I basically Joe. Okay, so I went through the different commodities and the metals that I purchased a while ago, and I basically told everyone in the mastermind, "Hey, look, I'm selling this here because of this. I'm keeping this because it still looks okay. This one looks. I'm selling this because it fell back into the, fell back under the big support, back into the big range. This still looks amazing. It's doing great, so I'm keeping this. And I basically just like went through the different commodities and metals that I'm in, and made sure that everyone knows what I'm doing with them and what the game plan is. And so those are metals, and so I look at metals, I look at commodities, I look at stocks, I look at crypto, I look at all these things, right? Because what I learned I actually learned this from the 2018 cycle, was that in 2018, the crypto market crashed and it lost 90%, right? But at the same time, stocks were going up like crazy. And so I wish that I rotated in 2018 into stocks, but instead I didn't. I just stayed in crypto, and I ended up losing everything, right? And then that's why in 2021 I sold and I rotated out of crypto into real estate and into stocks. And same thing with 2025, right? 2025 sold it and then rotated into these, right? And into other stocks and real estate as well. So it's it's a approach that uses many different indicators and metrics and data points to figure out what the best asset class is to go into that will be the easiest. And this is something that I learned from Stanley Druckenmiller from watching all of his videos and all of his interviews, is that he likes to go into things when he has massive conviction in them, right? And he puts on heavy size. So that's an investment strategy from arguably one of the best, if not one of the best, definitely, investors of all time, right? Look for the narrative, create a thesis around it, and go in extremely, extremely heavy with everything you got, essentially, or more. And I'm not someone that goes 100% into something when I have a really good thesis about it, unless it's like a once in a lifetime type of deal, then I will. But I've only had one opportunity in my entire investment career so far like that, and that was with Dogecoin. Back in 2020, it was just so obvious. Everything came together. So it was just the most obvious thing in the world. But since then, I actually haven't had another play as obvious as that. So I don't actually go in with 100% or leverage up and do 200, 300%. But I will risk 15, 20%, 25% if it's a really good thesis. And I might actually even go all the way up to 50% if it's like a 9 out of 10. If I come across a 10 out of 10, I'll do it. I will do the Stanley Druckenmiller style and do 100, but or more. But it's just those hardly ever come around. Maybe I'll get one, in the next decade. That's basically how hard it is to get those type of opportunities, right? Everything has to line up. But I will put on but I will put on a lot but I will put on a lot of risk if I do see really good setups. It's just obviously a lot of things have to come together. Most people have it wrong and they put on a lot when the setup is not really good and when the fundamentals are not there and when the narrative and the thesis doesn't make sense. So I don't understand, but that most people lose, right? So I take a long time. It takes a long time for my trades to get hit, for a lot of them to get hit, unless everything's going crazy, right? But when they do, it's like they work out very, very well. I have an extremely high hit rate, right? Extremely high win rate because of it. And so I do a mix of like waiting and then going in, but not and going in with a lot, but not going in with 100%. So typically, when you trade, you want to trade and risk between 0.5 to let's say 3% of your portfolio, and that's how I typically do the trades whenever I'm trading. To stay abreast of the market and to understand what the market is doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't even need to be, like staying abreast of the market. But I put these trades on. I put a lot of trades on, risking very, very little, just so I could understand things better and it stays front of mind, right? And then when I see the big thing, I'll go and I'll risk 20% or something or more. So that's like the overall thesis or the overall strategy. It's not only taking small risks and risking 0.5 to 3% on every trade and only doing that. It's not only doing the opposite and going and waiting and waiting and waiting and then going in super, super heavy. It's a mix of both. I try to take the best of everyone's style, right? Stan Druckenmiller, professional traders that are working at hedge funds and different funds strategies as well. There's and I do the manual, I do the automatic, and I think the absolute best strategy that will come and the biggest winners are going to be the people who could combine bots and AI with manual execution, or like bots and AI execution with manual oversight and manual execution as well. Those people are going to absolutely crush it, and that's what I'm working on. That's the number one thing that I'm working on, is combining AI and bots and figuring that out, along with double checking, personally, and making sure that everything is good before I go in super, super hard. And so that's the big thing that I'm working on. So now that we have all of that out of the way, I want to keep on going through this. So basically, what I've been saying for months and months and months, the top was in October at $126,000. Things are getting so deep into the value zones at this point that I wouldn't want to short anything now unless we get big moves up. And yeah, that was back here. That was on the 9th. So I don't want to be shorting unless we get big moves up. And if Bitcoin does come to say 81,000 to 89,000, that's going to be that's a huge shorting opportunity. I absolutely will want to be shorting if that's the case. Also, can I do this? Is this something here? I guess that's something here, but this won't really work. This I thought maybe there was a diagonal trend line that could be placed, but it's not. Unless it's from here to here, but even that still, we would have to really pump next week, like tremendous. We're not going to do that. So I don't need this. Anyway, that's going back. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the big moves up. And right now we're not really having them. So the other thing, in case you're new here, my strategy, the way I work, is I plot out big levels. I call them ideal buy zones and ideal sell zones. You can see right here, this is the ideal buy zone for Bitcoin, and this is the ideal sell zone for Bitcoin. And then, like I was just talking about before, with combining AI and robots and automations with manual stuff, I wait for it to come into these zones, and I have a bot that constantly scans the market. And I have a separate computer, separate laptop that it has the code running on it just 24/7, and it looks for certain patterns within these zones, because you could take trades, wherever you want. But if you wait until it's in the most ideal spots, then your win rate will drastically improve. You'll most likely make a lot more money. You could have much greater confidence in your trades, and the probability of you being right will be astronomically higher than if you just take a trade any day of the week, and just at random times, right? So that's why I have these ideal buy and ideal sell zones, and I give those out inside of the VIP, inside of my Diamond membership. And then for people who decide to join the inner circle, which is another option I have for higher net worth individuals, I basically just tell them exactly like, hey, buy this here, sell this here, right? And they don't have to actually look at the zones or look at the alerts or anything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. So like I said in my market update, and like I've been saying in my market update, 126 was the top. This was obviously it was the top, right? So many signs, so many signs that was the top. You got the SFP on the monthly time frame. You got the SFP right here beforehand. You got the five. I think this was 5 waves up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, actually it wasn't 5 waves up. But you got the SFPs at the top. You got this right here. This was like the most telltale sign. Was when this happened, basically October 6th or October 10th. That was the biggest sign. But I honestly looked at Ethereum, and I looked at Ethereum back in September, and saw that it reached the 2021 highs and then created a bearish market structure break. And that was this right here, before the October 10th crash, before the biggest liquidation event in crypto's history. That's when I knew to get out, and I started stacking a big short position, literally from 4,000 all the way up to 4,500. And that was basically how I knew the top was in, or how I thought that the top was in, was because we had this bearish market structure break on Ethereum in the ideal sell zone up here, right? So that's how amazing this stuff could work, if you know what you're doing. So anyway, that's the basic thing. I'm still waiting for. I don't want to short right now. I don't want to short when things are down so much, right? I'll just go through a bunch of different charts. Like you could see, like they're all very much down, quite substantially from the top. So I don't want to short it right now, except for hype. Hype is pretty nice. And look at this. Oh my God, did it miss this by like a 0.1%? I think it did. I think it missed it by like a 0.1%. But this is what I'm saying. This is the ideal sell zone, and this is where unfortunately this one missed it. But it looks like the hype around hype might be over right now. At least on the 1 hour, it doesn't look too good. Same thing with the 4 hour. Same thing with the 12 hour. So we'll see. We'll see if that was the top, or if it's going to have one more move up into the zone, and then I could short it from around $45 to $46, $47. That would be the most ideal, and then I could buy it back around $16, $17. That would be the best. I would absolutely love that. So I will be definitely putting this into my bot. So this is going to remain the same, same thing. Nothing changes. I'm just waiting for things to move up to short. Also, there is not a lot of liquidity in the markets right now, and this means that liquidity zones are great hunting grounds for exchanges and whales. This also means that those are the areas where I would want to be scaling into either my shorts or my longs. Essentially, look for where retail traders would normally place their stops, and that's where you should put your buys or your sells there, because those are big liquidity zones. So I was looking at hype earlier, and honestly, this is a liquidity zone where it is right now, because it had this huge move up. And I mean, I guess I know one. It's called Pippin. This was the biggest. This is for sure uh, the most obvious play ever, which was that right above this wick right here, at 77 cents, right above there, it was the biggest liquidity zone ever, right? And look at where it came up to. It literally snagged it, and then all of the liquidity was there. So everyone was loading up, and then they just dumped it. They just dumped it to hell, right? All the people who were buying through this entire 2025 ended up selling it right here, and you could tell they just dumped huge millions and millions and millions of it at this area, because it just went straight down so quickly in one day. And the fucking crazy thing is that I shorted it. I actually did short it, and I shorted it here, and then I bought it here, and then I did not ride it all the way up. I definitely didn't ride it all up. No, I just bought it back. That's what I did. I shorted it and I just bought it back. I thought that this was going to be the top right here, because this is such a crazy bearish wick, right? So I thought that this was, so I sold it right here. I shorted it, and this was a fucking roller coaster for sure. I don't know. I wish I shorted it from right here. This would have been this right here was the most obvious short. Oh my God. Anyway. And this now is no longer, this was for down here. It was actually perfect. So there's no longer an ideal buy zone for Pippin, because it's pretty much over. Let's just say that. We could say that. So yeah, anyway, that's the liquidity, hunting and stuff like that. Now, for longs, they should be taken right under major support levels, aka liquidity zones, and for shorts, put them right above resistances. So I'll show you one that I'm waiting for, which is Pepe. Everyone started going crazy right here, but I'm telling you, like, this is not, I personally don't think that this is it. I don't think that this is the thing. I think this is just a Fugazi, and it's actually going to come all the way back down and drop another, from current price, drop another 16%. And it's gonna reach down here, and that's where I want to be getting in. This is where the real liquidity is, I believe. So that's that's what I'm talking about when I say, hey, for longs, there should be taken right under big support levels, big liquidity zones, right? This is a big liquidity zone right underneath that wick. That's actually how I did hype, how I got into hype, and I had the alert go off in the group. It was literally right here. I said it before, get in underneath this wick of the October 10th, it was the October 10th wick. I don't know why the October 10th wick, get in underneath there, and look at that. It was like literally, this was the Pico bottom. This was the absolute bottom. So you couldn't get a better entry than that. Seriously, it's actually insane how good the entries are sometimes. So that's hype, right? And that's what I'm talking about just with this overview. And normally I don't go into this much detail in this, but I'm making this a YouTube video, right? So I just want to explain to you my thought process, my system, everything that I do, in case you're interested, in joining the Diamond membership or anything like that. And so that's that. And now also, finally, I had overall still waiting for the time-based cycle to play out, planning on entering heavy in August or September of 2026. And I say August or September and not October, even though October is the time-based bottom. It's when the bottom should be. But the bottom, I don't know, maybe I should wait till October, to be honest, because I was gonna say November 2022 was the bottom, but where is it? December 18th, 2022. This was December. Oh, this was the wrong one. Let me go to 2022. Here we go. Yeah, so November 22 was the bottom in November, and that was the bottom was supposed to be there anyway, and I was thinking, oh, well, what if we got in here in October or September? That would have been good, but actually it would have been better to get in November when the time-based cycle literally said to get into. So maybe maybe I will wait. I think like the thing that I was thinking was like it's gonna be front ran. That's what I was thinking when I said, okay, I'm gonna get in August or September. Like the bottom's probably gonna get front ran because everyone thinks that it's gonna go to October. So if everyone thinks it's gonna go to October, it's probably gonna end up bottoming in September. And so I just want to get in. I just want to get in. And honestly, I mean, damn, if you could get into Bitcoin that close to where the theoretical bottom should be, and it's let's say it's I don't know, down 68% from the 67% from the top. I mean, Jesus, man, like that's a buy and hold. You just buy it and you just hold it. Even if it does go down another 20% or 30% from there, like you wait, you just hold it for a few years, and the opportunity is so great that it's going to have the next cycle and end up going up at least like 300%. However, I will say this, like the cycles are getting deteriorating in their gains. They're really deteriorating in their gains, to be honest, like drastically. So it would have to go to, like, let's say it goes to $250,000. Like that's quite a large move. That's still 500%. That's still only 500%. Look at coin though, which would obviously do extremely well if Bitcoin goes up 500% from there. I mean, coin would, let's say that's the bottom. I could see coin doing that. Why not? Why wouldn't coin go up 700%? Go to 1,000 during the next bull market. Or strategy, right? Like you have to think of strategy, which again, this is like around September, October. That's where I really want to be buying, unless something changes, right? That's why I do this every single week. One thing that I do see on strategy, talking about liquidity zones and stuff like that, is like, damn, this is a fucking massive liquidity zone at around $100. In fact, looking at this right now, just straight off the bat, I'm going to be putting on blind. I'm going to put some blind orders in at $104 or $105 on MicroStrategy, because this is such a good area to get in. This reminds me of Coinbase. It bounces off of this area. It's a huge support. It's a huge liquidity zone. It's a huge area of interest. Like, oh my God, it's the 2021 highs. It just seems so good. This is such a good. I wonder how far. I wonder if this is any type of Fibonacci as well. It's the 78.6 Fibonacci. Well, no, I'd have to bring this up. It's close to the 78.6. Not quite. It's a little bit below it, but it's very close. That is potentially the bottom. If not, I would say $69 would be the bottom. Funny enough, right? $69, and then it would probably go up to $420. I mean, how poetic would that be if MicroStrategy bottomed at $69 and then it topped next cycle at $420? That would be absolutely poetic. So actually, I'll keep that on there. So I'm gonna put an alert in right here. Even though I have this $35 as the ideal buy zone, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. I think it'll be higher. I think it'll have to be higher than that. I think the 88% is gonna have to be it, because it just, yeah, this is an ideal buy zone for sure. Like this whole area. This is gonna be hot. This is gonna be tough, because I sort of expect it to bounce off of here a little bit, and then if we're still in a bear market though, I would say 69 is probably gonna be it. But 105 is so good. 105 is so good. I'll put in a small blind order at 105, and then basically add to it if I see it like doing well, putting in some bullish market structure, putting in some bullish candles around this area. That's what I'll do. Okay, so going back to the overview and the market update, we pretty much have the overview done. And then I just reiterate it at the end that I'm waiting for the time-based cycle to play out, and like I said, planning on entering heavy in August or September, or or October, who knows? We'll see. And then what I do is I look at big macro charts, and then I go into the actual charts. Well, actually, before I even do that, I review the ETF data. So let me actually do this ETF data. So if I go into my Discord, I have this ETF inflow outflow channel. And what that does is it tells me the net inflow for Bitcoin, for the Bitcoin ETF, and the net inflow for the Ethereum ETF, right? And I customized this. I created all these custom indicators that post every single day the net inflow, the 10-day average net flow, so that we know, like, hey, is it changing? And the percent change 10-day average. So if, let's say, let's look at the Bitcoin one, right? So the 10-day average net flow for Bitcoin over the last 10 days is $42.2 million. Then if the next day there was some massive amounts of inflows, then the percent change of the 10-day average would drastically move up, like a lot. So I made this so that it will alert everyone if there is a massive change in the average percentage that is put in. And so there's there hasn't been any massive change. As you can see, negative 0.6% and negative 1.2%, 0.8%, 0%. Like, there's no changes, right? So none of those alerts have gone off. But if there is a massive change because one day a ton of Bitcoin or Ethereum are either bought or sold through the ETFs, I am alerted. So I always look at this. I always look at this every week, and if the alert goes off, then I'll check it, the day of. To see. And basically I see, okay, negative Bitcoin, 163 million, negative 56 for Ethereum. Yesterday, 200 million inflows for Bitcoin, while it was 71 million inflows for Ethereum. The day before that, $180 million inflows, and $26 million. So, okay, so I'm seeing, all right, there are some net inflows. It's not bad, right? It's not all negative. So this week there's been a lot of net inflows for Bitcoin. For Ethereum, it's been less. There hasn't been like massive amounts. This was negative 51 million. This was 51 million out. Then it was 12 million in. Then it was 57 million in, right? So basically zero, and then 26 million in. This is just for Ethereum, right? This one had 71 million in. So we are definitely seeing an uptick in the Ethereum inflows. That's for sure. Nothing like what it was, during the bull market or anything like that. But this just gives me basically something to think about and to say, all right, so maybe we are getting a lot of inflows. So a lot of institutions are buying. So that does shift. It shifts the overall picture slightly more bullish. So if there was massive outflows, obviously it would be more bearish. There's some inflows. It's not a gigantic amount, but it's some. So that's, of course, that's leaning bullish. And then that affects the overall, everything that I think of when it comes to trading. Okay, so once I have that data along with other data, I typically go through other data first, but I actually just saw this right now for Bitcoin, so I needed to update everyone and put this trade on. This, I think, is actually a really good trade because it's a 1.56 but it's actually like it's potentially just a it's potentially like like a 8R trade, 7, 8, 9R trade, because yeah, this is where the original stop loss is for sure. But if the price comes down and closes underneath this trend line, then I'm like 90% sure we're gonna, see 58,000. So if it closes underneath here, I'm gonna bring my take profit down to right here, like -1% or something, and I'll have an extremely high likelihood of getting filled on that. So essentially, like right now it's a 1.5R trade, but like theoretically, if that happens, it's more like a 7, 8, or 9R trade. So that's why I like it. So I did just put this trade on. I did just buy Bitcoin at $69,680, and I'm gonna sell up here, take my profit up here. Hopefully it keeps on going and it goes all the way up to 83,000. That would be amazing. 83, 84, and that's when I could start looking for shorts. But yeah, this actually looked really good, so I just wanted to put that on right there. Now, before I get to there, like I said, I usually go through many other charts, and I'll start with the total, so the total market cap. On the 9th, which was the last time I did this, I said it put in a bullish weekly candle last week, so it's not the worst time to buy because I do think that prices will move up. However, I will be taking profits quickly, and I always include a little, a chart of it. So going to the total market cap, let's go over here, total. This was, where is it? Oh, I'm on the 4-hour. That's why I was like wondering what was going on. So yeah, this was on the 9th so literally right here. Yeah, it put in that bullish candle, and then and I said probably going to move up, but I would be taking profits, moved up. Now, I actually really like where it is. I do actually really like, so this is what I'm saying. This is, everything builds on top of each other. So we have the ETF data, number one, right? Number two, we have obviously like the price of Bitcoin, like looking at it, it's at that, on that diagonal trend line, right? Number three, we have the total market cap. Look at where the total market cap is right now. First off, it did the same thing where it broke out of above the range, and now it's retesting the support, but it's also retesting this trend line and this horizontal SR flip area. So looking at this makes me actually a lot more confident that we're going to see a big move up, that we're going to continue moving up in the charts. And so now my bias is like, I'm long bias with all of this data, right? And my probabilities are way better than if I were to just have looked at the chart, individual chart. So if I scroll back a little bit, I'll go on the weekly chart so you can see this. This right here, where we are right now, this is this gigantic trend line that's been all the way since March of 2020. Okay, and it's been an amazing trend line support, right? And so this is what I like about this. Also, this formation right here with this giant wick and then this big candle right there next to it, that's a very bullish formation to happen after a big move down. So I could totally see the market cap, moving up over the next few weeks. Yeah, it would not surprise me to see this. And then, of course, I think this is when everyone would really get bullish. I think people are sort of bullish right now, but I don't think there's any like real euphoria or anything. I think everyone's still super cautious. But to be honest, I think now might actually be a really good time to basically buy in hopes of there being a decent move up, of which, of course, I would be selling, and then looking to short the market as well, just based off of this. So I'm gonna write that in here, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so essentially, I did the total market cap. I really liked where it was. It was on the major trendline support and major SR flip area. Seems pretty bullish, so I put that down. Then I go into total 2. Total 2 continues to be range bound. There's no huge signal that it's at the bottom. I'm thinking 767 or 648 will be the bottom for total 2. So I will look at a total 2 now. I'll go over here and yeah, total 2, it's total 2. So total 2, it's in this zone that was a major, let's see, resistance, support, resistance, then it did fall underneath of it here. So it's not bad. Like it is printing, it did print a bullish candle formation here. I do like it. I believe last time, what did I say last time? It wasn't, it was just range bound, I believe. No huge signal that it was the bottom. 767. I'm thinking like 767, somewhere around here is probably going to be the bottom. That's what I'm thinking. So because of that, I am looking at this right now. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a while to figure out exactly what I'm looking at, and put all of the different things on the chart and really think about it. So that was on the 9th when I said that, which was right over here. Now it did break out above the range, which is good, and it's retesting it. So it's very similar to how everything else sort of broke out of the range and started to retest it. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a move up with this as well. I mean, of course, it could just totally crash, and fall straight through here and be done, right? But it's certainly the best time. It certainly has the best chances of moving up, because it broke out of the range, right? So that's typically the best times to, or the highest probabilities of things. So essentially, like other charts, it broke above its range and now it's retesting the range, so it is slightly bullish. If it does fall underneath the diagonal support right here, obviously that would be extremely bearish. I would not want that at all. But right now, things are looking bullish. Ultimately, I do believe that 767 or lower will happen with it, but that's just what it is. So then, after total 2, total 3, so just a couple weeks ago, just like the others, it doesn't look bad, but there's a potential for a relief rally right now, but the risk is still too high, generally speaking, to put on any massive positions. Yeah, and it's still true that I wouldn't want to put on any massive positions, that's for sure. But yeah, same exact thing as the other ones. The only thing that I don't like about this is that this did not come all the way back down into the ideal, like it just tapped the ideal buy zone and shot up. I would have much rather have had it done something else. But it's essentially the same thing as the other charts. Can I do this? You could do that, or maybe even this. Yeah, I think that probably makes more sense. So it's not terrible, right? But it's not the most ideal. But personally, if this was an asset, just a specific asset, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably give it. I don't know if I would give it a shot or not, to be honest. I would need more context. But yeah, it's pretty much like everything else, so I'll just put that down. And then after total 3, I look at others, and honestly, they're all the same. This is literally the same exact thing. You could see, same exact thing. Then I look at the Bitcoin market cycle chart, which is something that I showed you in the beginning of the cycle. That's what's encompassing my overall overarching, thesis and hypothesis on the market, right? And of course, last time I said the same thing that I've said for multiple months now, according to the time-based cycle, the 4-year cycle, the halving chart, whatever you want to call it. The top is in. We all know this now at this point. This is not going to change for many months unless Bitcoin does something absolutely insane out of nowhere. Of course, this can change, but this is the big picture. Just think about every bear market ever. You know, the price has always gone down over 60%. There is always a capitulation event. And it always takes a minimum of 9 months, but it's typically 12 months, 1 year, right, to bottom. So why try to say this time will be different? There's no real point in trying to say that. And that should be the next chart in here. Yeah, that's this chart right here. That's what I went over earlier. So even though I do believe that we are going to get a nice little bounce here, I just don't think that it's over at all. And so the bear market's over at all. So that's why I have all of these in here, and I'm just waiting, and that sort of frames the overall picture of everything, right? So I say August, or late September, or maybe October. To be the bottom, that's when I'd go in heavy into Bitcoin. Basically, yeah, going heavy, if not potentially 100%. Yeah, okay. So that's all of that. The next thing to look at is alt dominance. So alt dominance and Bitcoin dominance, really, I just have key areas, really big key areas that I wait for these different charts to get hit. But really, these charts haven't been moving much for months now, and they aren't really correlated with the prices so much right now. It's much better during the bull market. It's very different right now during bear markets. So it's not really a good indicator to use. Like, you have to weight every single different indicator that you use, right? And some of them are better than others. This one was amazing, back in the day. And it helped me to go pretty much all in October of 2024, which is when we had this gigantic, big move up on the alts, and Trump became president and everything went ballistic, right? That was awesome. And it also told me to get out of the market in September, because that's when we had this really big, this right here is September 8th to the 16th. Really, that was just like, oh man, this is not looking good. This is really not looking good. This was the warning sign that I was looking at before the big crash, which you can see happened right there. So yeah, nothing. It's not in any area. It's not in any area of interest, so can't really do anything with this. And also, I'll just skip ahead. Can't do anything with the Bitcoin dominance as well. That's this chart. I really am just only looking at this if it's inside of the zones that I, have plotted out. And so after the altcoin and Bitcoin dominance, I look at USDT dominance, and this is the area. So basically, USDT dominance was in the area where the Bitcoin bottomed in November and December of 2022, which is really good. However, in June 2022, it reached the same area, USDT dominance, and Bitcoin did, and then dropped. But then we had the capitulation event, which was FTX, and the actual bottom was formed. So that's when the USDT actually started to decline. So pretty much USDT, let me just keep on going over this. If this happens again, we could see some relief, but it will be short-lived. Also, I do believe the dominance will rise even higher before turning around. So let's go to the charts, and I'll explain what I just said. So essentially, this area right here is the same area where Bitcoin bottomed back in November of 2022. Remember, that's when we bottomed, bear market cycle bottom right there. However, it was in the same exact area right here as well in June 2022, and that's what I'm saying. Like, we did not bottom in June. Like, we bottomed in December. We had a nice move up in June, but then we came back down, and then we really we capitulated in November. So that's where we are right now, or we were in that same exact area. So if we move down, which we just moved down, which is good, maybe we'll continue to move down a little bit more. Maybe we'll just repeat this. Maybe we'll repeat what happened in 2022. USDT dominance will move down, and then move down and then move back up. Whole market crashes, and then we'll bottom, and then we could start the new bull market again, and USDT dominance could come back down. That's potential. So actually, that's exactly what I'm going to write. Then after that, I look at the Bitcoin against the SPX chart, the S&P 500. And a couple of weeks ago, it was at the 61.8 fib of the cycle, which is great. I don't know why that was like that. But Bitcoin going up on this particular chart, the Bitcoin against the S&P 500, because is it going up because it's actually going up, or is it going up because the S&P is going down, right? I do think though that Bitcoin, I do think that Bitcoin will outperform the S&P 500 for at least a few weeks last time. So that was on the 9th of, where are we at? The weekly chart right here. So yeah, that was right over here. And yeah, we hit this ideal buy zone, and then started to shoot up. This looks really good. I think it will come up. I think Bitcoin's going to outperform the S&P 500 for the next few weeks. I will say that. So this is just a chart. There's a chart that I look at to just one more piece of confluence, So we got that, and then after that we have Bitcoin against gold. So if I had a lot of gold, I would be selling it right now, and I'd be averaging into Bitcoin over the next few months, because it just seems obvious that Bitcoin will outperform gold over the next year or two, right? If not 4 years, Also, this chart is looking slightly bullish, and that makes me think Bitcoin will probably move up. So let me get that chart on here. That's this chart right here. So yeah, look at this. This is pretty crazy, right? Really nice. Bitcoin has been outperforming. It's been outperforming gold for the past 3.5 weeks. So I think it will continue to outperform gold. And probably what I'll do is I'll put this in right here. Maybe this will be a good area to think that, like, okay, now it's time to sell crypto, because it's probably going to head back down lower again. Then we have the US dollar, which it really hasn't mattered what the dollar has done over the last few months. Like, the crypto market has been going down regardless, right? So the weight that I give this is much less than what I normally give it, and that's the DXY right here. It did tap that area, a few days ago, like, where the dollar is bearish, which means that crypto is probably bullish. And like, I do like it. I do like how it's here. So this is just another confluence adding up to make me say, okay, getting into Bitcoin probably is not a bad idea right now, because maybe this comes back down, to here or something, or a little bit lower, and then it's like, okay, time to be more risk off. But it seems pretty good, especially after this candle right here, that this is like this is a very bearish candle for the US dollar. So that's typically bullish for crypto, even though a lot of times, like I said, it doesn't really matter too much of what the dollar has been doing lately, but it still has a little bit of weight. And yeah, this is a good time as ever, a good place as ever for it to be as Bitcoin moves up. Okay, so the next thing that I go through is the SPY, ES1, S&P 500, et cetera, et cetera. Except I will say something right now. As I was doing this, I always also go onto X, and I look up different resources and stuff like that. And I just saw Jensen Huang, the CEO of the world's most valuable company, NVIDIA, and Chamath discussing BitTensor Tau. Okay, this is really big. So I immediately went to Tau, and I just saw this. I saw this chart right here, And this is very much like what I talked about before with the liquidity zones and stuff like that. I actually had a huge order right here, but obviously it never reached there. But I'm gonna just keep this order here. I'm gonna put the order back in just because this reminded me them two talking, Jensen and Chamath talking about Tau, that I need to have my order in because this is a huge liquidity zone. It's actually an even better zone at this point now. And I want to make sure that I'm in this one because I think that BitTensor Tau, along with Hype and Solana and maybe Sui, are probably the ones that are going to be that you want to be in. Like, because I think they're the ones that will actually stick around and outperform and do very well next cycle, next bull market. So yeah, I just put some orders in for here, and I definitely want to make sure that I have orders in at this level for BitTensor Tau. So yeah, that's Tau for you. So I did Tau, and then looking at the S&P 500, right? You got to go to that, and honestly, it's been looking weak. It's been looking pretty weak. Yeah, I mean, let me go to the weekly chart to show you guys what's going on. This is, I mean, look at that. It's just turning over, totally turning over. Looking not too good. If it, like I say right here, if we close under here, game over, right? Luckily it did not, which is great, but I think I think it's probably gonna head down. I mean, I'm like very certain it's gonna be at least 62, 61, and then probably head all the way down to 5,800, the golden ratio right here, and then that'll probably be the bottom, or maybe down here, maybe this is the actual area, and these are the actual numbers. So 6,200, 62, I could totally see, I could see this happening, right? And then we get a huge bounce from right here. That seems pretty feasible to me, given where we are right now, unless we just go into a huge recession and end up falling, right? So yeah, I'm looking at this. It looks like it's continuing to turn over and roll over. That's the correct term I was looking for. So I'll just add that. And so after I do that, what I like to do is go through what I call like the altcoin charts. Basically, there are a bunch of charts that display the altcoin market against Bitcoin. And I just wait for these big areas to get hit, and then I know that would be a really good time to go into altcoins. And sometimes this could take months or even years to get to these levels. But going through them, we have this one right here, and you can see that it's still quite a ways away. This is the alts against BTC, essentially like all of it against BTC. It shows when alt season actually happens. And that you could see, like, we got an alt season in November, in October, November, December of 2024. We did get one right there. It wasn't as crazy, but it was good. And then we have this one, which is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, ETH, and stablecoins. And once again, just waiting. And then same thing for this one, which is the total market cap excluding the top 10. And then so this is a really good, basically chart for altcoins and just the broader altcoin market, right? So if it comes down here, that would be amazing. That'd be an amazing opportunity to load up on alts, right? So all of these have essentially remained the same. Nothing has changed with them. I'm just waiting for some big obvious thing to happen, right? And then, of course, I talked about coin, where it bounced exactly from my buy zone and went up 50%. And that makes me want to trade coin and equities even more than Bitcoin. I was waiting because I figured it would be a bear market, with crypto being a bear market, but I'll take more decisions now. So this was coin, and there's my, that was my entry, right? Or that was supposed to be my entry, but I didn't, and that's why I'm gonna wait for it to come back down and then get in over here, because I do think that this is the bottom for coin. So that's already in. I don't have to really worry about that. Then we have Tesla, all right. So I always look at Tesla coin, Tesla, and a few other ones. Tesla, this is what I'm waiting for Tesla, for it to come down to 293. I think the top is in. If this does come up here, I should write this in here, maybe right there. I'll say, if it does come up to this area, this is an absolutely amazing short opportunity. The stop loss can go above the swing high. Yeah, so that's what this would be right here, and it would literally just be like that, and it's at least a 2 hour trade right there. So that's what I would do if this happens on Tesla. So after I look at Tesla, I look at strategy. Obviously, I already explained what I was going to do for that earlier, and then I have Nvidia, which is a good overview of the AI market. I just obviously, like, at this point, other stocks have a much better opportunity than Nvidia does, because it's all it already had its big run, right? Like, it'd be sort of dumb to buy it now after this absolutely insane run up, right? So I'm not looking to buy Nvidia, but I do like looking at it because it gives me a good overview, potential overview of just the broader AI market, and essentially the broader market as a whole, because it's the number one, right? It's like so powerful, it's so big. So yeah, I definitely always look at this, and it doesn't really look that good, just looking at it from here. So that's Nvidia. And once I am done with all of these, big picture stuff, and I, think about what's going on and everything, that's when I finally go into the individual charts. So that's when I look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and all of that stuff, right? So now I could go into these charts and basically look for opportunities, right? And I already explained Bitcoin earlier. I really like it here, just based off of all the stuff that we talked about before. I think this is a good trade setup. So I'm already in. I already bought it, so that's fine. And then, let me actually put this into the report. And then we have Ethereum against Bitcoin, and Ethereum against BTC really shows a lot of. It reflects altcoins very, very well. So one reason why I'm more going into BTC instead of alts is because this did hit this big resistance, right? This does have this huge resistance area. So yeah, I'm not too into longing too many altcoins right now, because I just don't think that they're in the best positions still. Like, as everyone should know at this point, Bitcoin could go up and altcoins can still not do anything, right? So if this was, I don't know, if this was like a little bit lower, or just a little bit differently, or wasn't so close to this area, then yeah, I'd probably be cool with longing. But I would rather just long BTC at this point. So that's what I got from this chart here. So that's like the Ethereum against BTC chart. I'd rather just buy Bitcoin instead of ETH, because it seems like it formed a descending triangle, and now it's like coming close to the underside of it. So it might outperform it a little bit, or maybe it'll outperform it a lot. I don't know, but like, I just don't really see it. I don't really like it the way that this is looking. Now for Ethereum itself, this seems like a very plausible situation for Ethereum. It basically had the range, right? Broke above the range. It's the same thing as everything else. Broke above the range, now retesting it. It does have this diagonal trend line though, which is pretty hard. Like it could be a long, but I don't know. I'd rather just not. I'd rather just, yeah. I don't know. I like the way that Bitcoin is set up, and if Ethereum, like I want it to come down here first before I really actually go heavy into it. Then what I like to do is I like to look at Solana against BTC, because you should always look at whatever coin you're looking at getting into against Bitcoin, because it's like you might think that it's going to do very well, but if it's going to do poorly against BTC, you might as well just put everything you have into BTC without taking the risk of the altcoin, right? So yeah, I'm looking at this, and to be honest, I don't see anything here. It's not close enough to any of the supports for me to want to get in, and this is just some range bound shenanigans. So yeah, nothing really to say for this one for sure. So that's Sol against Bitcoin, and then we have actually like Solana against USDT. Of course, it's not in my ideal buy zone yet, which is where I would want to really start loading up. But it's not in the worst, it's not in the worst zone, right? So same old, same situation as everything else. Yeah, same thing as everything else. If I had to bet, I bet it's going to go up probably 13 to 15% and get tagged at this diagonal trend line, and then probably head back down from there. So yeah, that's all. That's Solana. It's not as powerful as a break as the other ones were. But yeah, I would assume that if everything else is if these other coins are gonna go up, Solana's probably gonna go up as well. It's just not the best. I mean, you could, yeah. I don't like this diagonal trend line though. It's like pretty big, and it's at the 100 big psychological resistance area, right? Big number, right? So I think I'll just pass on that. Okay, so after I do these in Bitcoin and Ethereum, or Bitcoin and then ETH against BTC, and then ETH, and then Sol against BTC, and then Sol, because those are like the main ones, right? I do look at other coins. So the first thing that I do is like I know what coins to look at because I follow, the crypto market, right? So for instance, Hype is one I'm looking at right now. I definitely want to get into it at a certain point in time. Not right now at all, but if it comes back down here, like at $23, $24, $20 to $23, I'm gonna be loading the boat, because this is pretty obvious that it proved that it's a coin not to be reckoned with, and it's a coin that will most likely stay and make new all-time highs next cycle. So I want to make sure that I know this and that I keep this front and center, or at least I keep this in my mind when I go over my market updates. So I'm going to put that in the PDF. And then what I like to do, I look at other coins that I think might have some potential, some like lower market cap coins and stuff like that. I saw River, River's doing exceptionally well, to be honest. So this is one that I want to keep my eye on. It's one that if something like a really obvious bullish market structure type of play comes into play, I want to be taking a chance on it, because this obviously is looking much better than than a lot of other coins, right? So knowing that if there is a big retrace, I think that it will do very well on a bounce. So yeah, I'll look at coins like this. I know there's one, CC is one that I've been looking, Canton Network or whatever it's called. I've been looking at this one for quite a while now. I'm still waiting. I've just been waiting. It's essentially been range bound, slowly dripping. But I do want to load up some of this for the longer term later on. You could see it, it's done very well against BTC. And so yeah, I look at these. And then I look at other things that have potential. I already mentioned Tau Network, stuff like that. I'll look at XRP against BTC just to see where it's at, and where is it? All the way up here. Here it is. And know when to get in. This is actually XRP against Bitcoin is such a solid play. I swear, like if you go to the weekly chart, it literally showed you to buy it. It literally showed you to buy it down here before it went on that massive run like crazy, right? This was the weekly chart. It was just super obvious because it was just like, okay, here's the ideal buy zones where it's always bounced from, right? And if all you needed to do was just buy it from this level, and then it would go up again. Like it just keeps on going up from this level. So obviously I'm waiting for it to come back down to that level. That would be great. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh wait, no, there's actually one more thing. So another way that I figure out what coins to look at, and also potentially what coins to invest into for the longer term, it's this what I call the 7 and 30-day top gainers list. Okay, so this is a custom built bot that I create. Well, I had my AI assistant create, and it takes the top 5 coins against USD and also against BTC over the last 7 days. So the best performers over the last 7 days and the best performers over the last 30 days for both USD and for BTC. And it lists them out along with, how much they've went up. And this is great because it shows me a list of coins that are doing very, very well. And then I have a strategy that gets in on a retrace. So I can plot it out, put the alerts in, put the planned trades in my planned trades channel right there, and then if they hit, then they'll automatically go to the alerts channel and everyone gets alerted, right? So I do look at this, and where is it? Here it is. I have a weekly gainer summary, so it basically it adds up all of the different coins and tells me how many times they've been listed within the lists, and it shows me the top 5 most frequented cryptocurrencies based on the last week, and then at the end of the month it gives me the top 5 top monthly coins, most frequent coins. So in bear markets, it's usually just a bunch of scams and bull crap, and that's also just like knowledge to know. That's just something that comes in and it guides my decision of whether I should be going in or going out. It's like if I see nothing but scams are pumping up the hardest, then I know that it's not a good time to be in the market. I know that it's a bear market. If I see actual good coins or coins that have something that aren't pure scams pumping, then yeah, okay, maybe it's time to go in. But I know what coins for over the last 2 cycles, I know what coins go hard, go up the most during bear markets, and at what phase of the bear market, and I know what coins go up during bull markets. I know what type of coins go up. So I look at this, and if I see any that I do like, that I know aren't scams, then I will, do my analysis on them. So I have this as well, just one more tool, and this is something that's inside of the Cryptolete VIP for all the Diamond members as well, of course, so that they could see, and maybe they have, a strategy that they use or something like that. But this is also available inside of the mastermind for everyone as well. And so that is pretty much everything I do when it comes to doing my market update, looking at the charts. A lot of it, some other stuff though, is that I will literally just click through the charts and just go through them to see how each and every one of them is doing, and just to find, one that's potentially an outlier, right? So I'll also do that. And of course, this is all for my trading, but there's also the investing side and the lower market cap gems side, where I catch these 10, 50, 100x plays, and that is actually where I made the most amount, and most people end up making the most amount of capital, is from getting into those early. And that is an ongoing process, pretty much a daily process of me going through Twitter or X, me going into Discord groups, me going into alpha groups, me researching just narratives and thinking about certain things that could come together, and then looking at different cryptocurrencies. And yeah, so that's a whole nother section. So this has been like my overview of the market and the technical analysis part, most technical analysis part, and some other stuff. But I also look at do the fundamental stuff and look for these hidden gems and things to go into as well. So that's a second thing. And this is it. Yeah, this is pretty much it. So hope you enjoyed and hope you got a glimpse. Now you have a glimpse into my process, what I do, what I look for, things like that. And if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in getting, an update like this every week, then click the link below and you could schedule an appointment. It is only for people with at least 25K in the markets though. So if you don't have at least 25K in the markets, this isn't really something for you right now, but I will be coming out with stuff, for you. But yeah, this is it. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.